Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I am once again simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle, and I appreciate everybody showing up this evening for the chats and everybody that shows up afterwards. I really appreciate it. What do we got going on? Chuck Schumer, what have you done to yourself, schmuck? And we're going to go over that and what it means. Yeah, I got a capital letters in my thumbnail says National Security Catastrophe. And we're going to talk about that because it's no joke, folks. It's no joke. But hey, I meant to put this up the other day. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to talk about this too. I'm going to talk about all kinds of stuff. I'm so glad I grew up doing this instead of that. So anyway, what do? I play some videos while people come in and get themselves a nice cup of coffee or a cold bruja or whatever they want, glass of wine, and settle in. And then what happens after that? Oh, who's this creep? We'll be like butter and get on a roll. I always say that. What does that mean? I don't know.
They have achieved the victory. We haven't done anywhere near enough. And the people here, I promise you, we do feel ashamed. We do feel like we're not doing enough. We do feel like change needs to come because change must come. And in the form that it must come is that this empire, the American empire that's been hurting our people since the beginning, the imperial Western powers that have been hurting our people since the beginning, they must fall. And inshallah they will fall. And my message to the people of Gaza and the oppressed peoples across the world is that there are people here, both young and old, who are going to be willing to fight and are willing to put their lives and everything they can on the line to bring these empires down, because they must come down.
People are wondering what it is about this Muslim mayor who leads a liberal, multicultural, progressive, successful city that means I appear to be living rent-free inside Donald Trump's head.
Are those comments Islamophobic?
Listen, when people say things, when people act in a certain way, when people behave in a certain way, you've got to believe them.
So you're saying he is Islamophobic?
I think President Trump has shown he is racist, he is sexist, he is misogynistic, and he's Islamophobic.
I just haven't gotten over something the Justice Department did yesterday, where Virginia cleaned up its voter rolls and got rid of thousands and thousands of bad votes, and the Justice Department sued them that they should be allowed to put those bad votes and illegal votes back in and let the people vote. So I haven't gotten over that.
A tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy.
Storm zone. Yes, sir. I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined. Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff
people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies. Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. How is everybody doing tonight? I appreciate y'all coming by. I want to thank my new subscribers. Yeah, I had a bunch of people come and subscribe through the week, and I appreciate that. Chuck Schumer's self-immolating. We're going to get into that, what that's all about. He's already been given his marching orders. Hi, Randy. How you doing? Rain, how you doing? Ha. Sherry, baby nurse. Nice to see you. Sissy, Todd, Robin, Elva. Yeah, everybody's rolling in. Kim's here. Nice to see you, Kim. Robin's here. Let's see. Sherry. Darla, nice to see you. New insight. Come on in. Shake off your skin and rattle around in your bones. Ha ha ha. Sparky, nice to see you. You know where I got that from. Come on in. Shake off your skin and rattle around in your bones. Hi, Debbie. See if anybody guesses where I got that from. Wayne, nice to see you. And thank you so much for going to buy me a coffee along with Mike and Bev and helping the channel out. Ha ha ha. Let's see. Pappy Two Bears is here. Nice to see you also. All right. Yeah, give me a thumbs up, Wayne said. That helps the video get around. Does my voice come through while the hearts are coming out of the coffee cup? Because it used to break my voice up when I put that up there. So anyway, here's my thumbnail. In case y'all didn't get to see it. Here he is. Look what you've done. And you know, I used two different color letters because it's a double entendre. The picture. Because in the bottom, if you just read the white letters at the bottom, done. Schumer's done. But look what you've done, Chucky. You've done it to yourself. You've self-immolated, and so is your entire party. I got 5 by 5s. That's good. That's good. Nice to see you. I got to guess. Somebody guess. A cartoon? Did I get it from a cartoon? No. Come on in, shake off your skin and rattle around in your bones. Oh, it might be before a lot of yours time. I don't know. Oh, God. Hey, I found this. Remember I was talking the other night? I said I wish I had that screenshot from about, 8 years ago? 8 years ago? From Fox News, and I came across it today. I said, I'm going to put that in. You see what it says? This is an 8-year-old investigation. Or 7, somewhere around there. It's still percolating. You better believe it. There might be grand juries. Hillary Clinton Foundation. Hee-haw. That's a good guess. I'll give you a couple minutes. Maybe somebody will get it. People take a while to get into the chats. They don't get notified, or they just usually check their phone. Is Mountain Man on? Let me see. You got to check. I went to pull this video up. I want to talk about it today. And something I have in my archives. And look at there. Putin opens up on a very frank conversation with Trump. I got this about I don't know, 5 months ago, 4 months ago. Look what it says, can't play video. Isn't that something? So they can get inside your electronics and wreak havoc. So, yeah, I was just going to show a little something about Putin, talking about Trump. And it's gone. Gone forever. Red Skeleton, hee-haw. Okay, I'll just go ahead and tell y'all. I got it off of MASH. Hawkeye was making a martini at his still in a robe, and somebody came to the tent and he said, come on in, shake off your skin and rattle around in your bones. That might have been Trapper, or they might have both said it at the same time. Hawkeye said, come on in. The other one said, shake off your skin and rattle around in your bones. So anyway, a little inside. Oh, Red Skeleton, funny as could be. So anyway, let me play this. What did Trump talk about when he was talking about the tariffs? I said to you last night that Jay Sekulow did not put his best foot forward. That was what my opinion was last night. That was corroborated by the attorney Andrew Branca today. Not say he's a bad attorney at all. He's a good attorney. And I was a little bit of a wiseacre about his voice, but tariffs are going to be a catastrophe if we lose them. And Trump said, I played a video where he said, we will have to look at a plan 2, a second plan, right? Here's Trump talking about it today. Don't take it from me about national security, okay? So what is that when you're talking economics? What do you think of when you hear him, those words spoken by Donald J. Trump? What do you think about? Hi, Whiskey, how you doing? Anyway, here you go.
Before the Supreme Court right now, but if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's some people said, oh, it's trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. We have more than, I would say right now, more than $18 trillion. The biggest number ever is a tiny fraction of that for any country. China, the United States, the biggest number ever. If you look at the past administration, Biden, he did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. We're over $18 trillion. By the time my first year ends, we're going to have over $20 trillion of investment coming into the United States. It's unheard of. We have AI factories. We're leading China by a lot. We have cars and, car plants coming in by more than we've ever had built before. All of that would go away if we lose the tariff case. So all of it would go away. So they're not giving the right numbers. It would be an economic disaster. It would be a national security disaster if we lost the case in the.
Okay, I use the word catastrophe, but disaster is close enough. A national economic disaster. What does that remind you of, especially when he's talking about a second plan? A second plan that we would have to do. Ha ha, Gary, nice to see you, chairman of the board. Welcome aboard. What comes to mind, folks, when you hear $20 trillion by the end of his first year in office? Our national debt is 38 or 39 million. He's got over 50%. He's working with that we would have never seen before. So how many more hints can he put out that we're going to go back to the McKinley days. Mount McKinley. The days before the 16th Amendment and the enslavement of our nation by a bunch of sycophants and Marxists that have total control. Oh, that you have to report to till the day you die. You can't, as I mentioned, you can't have a day of peace. You can't have a day of peace without wondering, is somebody going to say I didn't put the right number down when I sold my golf clubs on eBay? Am I going to get... Like Reagan said, since the 60s, they have everything in place to take everything you own. That is from Ronald Wilson Reagan. So anyway, I'm seeing if anybody... What comes to mind, folks, when you hear a national security economic disaster? I think I might have laid it out too much of a hint. Yeah. New comments. Let's see. While you're cogitating on that, let me put up a few things. The Dominion, I wasn't able to say that a year ago. For years, this censorship that was state forced by three-letter agencies is another thing that's going to be taught in history books, okay? How people from the CIA, the FBI, they could call YouTube, or they could have an operative working there to interrupt people's broadcasts 3 or 4 times a night. And then a couple of days later, take their channel down for a week. And then do it again. And then wipe out their entire channel. 600 or 700 videos gone forever. Thank goodness it got straightened out. But now I can say Dominion. Bought by a election official, Republican. I forget his name. He put out a statement. I'll get a copy of it, put it up. But anyway, it's called Liberty Vote now. Is this going to be... Well, I have no doubt in myself. I have full confidence that military intelligence, the best of the best, are going to be getting into that system and those machines. And it's going to be just like Elon Musk said when he took over Twitter. I bought a crime scene. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with dumb onion voting. That's what I used to have to call it because I wasn't allowed to say their names. Dumb onion voting. Aha. So, well, I'll tell you what it means. It means Nasara Jacera, folks. Huh? When he's talking about a national economic security disaster. Doesn't that make sense? What does Nasara stand for? Jacera is global. Nasara is national. We have had so many clickbait creators. Be careful who you follow. Who get people on the edge of their seats for years, thinking any day there's going to be an emergency alert on your phone. Be ready for it. The military's coming in. Be ready for it. Nasara, Jacera, everybody's going to get a bag of money on their doorstep tomorrow night. And that was 5, 6, 7 years ago. And everybody, No. We go by with what we see, what we hear, and we follow what's happening. That's why we're the news, KNEW. In other words, I think the signal sent to SCOTUS was that if they... And it won't be Clarence Thomas. That's one I'm sure it won't be. It won't be Kavanaugh. But whoever goes against this and costs this country $20 trillion, we are at the precipice of economic collapse anyway because of the policies of criminals like this right here. That would be the shove. That would be the final shove to send this country into undeniable insolvency. We're in deniable, compensated insolvency right now. But it would send us into a disastrous economic condition that would destroy our country economically. Then you would see Trump flip the switch and invoke National Economic Security Recovery Act. Or I might have mixed some words up, but you know what I'm saying, folks. Hi, Mac. How you doing? Benjamin, nice to see you. So we're getting closer every day. So there you heard those words out of Trump, from Trump himself, that it would be a disaster, a national security disaster. And so we're going to be hearing from SCOTUS by the end of the month. We could hear something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I do not know. We could hear something, I don't know, tomorrow. I don't know. It's all laid out that way. But, of course, the big story is the Democrats giving up on the filibuster. Oh, here's a little something to show Trump sending a signal that every little thing's going to be all right. He gives this boy a Trump coin. I tell you what, I don't think this kid realizes. Maybe it'll sink in later on, but I would somehow get a way to verify this is the coin Donald Trump handed to me. And that coin's going to be worth a lot of money. But here you go. He's giving a young kid a coin. What a lucky young man. What a lucky young man. But, you know, Donald Trump is a fair man. He went and gave one to a liberal. He's not going to be unfair about it. Here you go. There, he gave one to a liberal. Ha, ha, ha. I think you all seen this before. That's the woman I said to if she got a nickel for every time her face was on a meme, she'd be a rich woman. So anyway, National and Security Recovery Act. All right. Yeah, that's the words he used. Economic and what? Oh, I goggled it, but I can't remember it exactly. NESRA. Is that how you spell it? And GESARA is global. Global. So anyway, here we got. They're all crying the blues. Listen to this creature. We better do something. I put in barbarians at the gate in one of my videos. These people are evil, and they take advantage of the ignorant. And James Carville is a perfect example. You know, he lives a very good lifestyle. You go to wherever he lives, and You got to hit a button to open the road up to get up to the beautiful retreat. What the hell's this man ever done? Do you ever swing a hammer, build anything, run a business? Was he ever responsible for giving people paychecks? No, he's been a bureaucrat as far as I know. Anybody know any different? Let me know. He's the one that came up with, it's the economy, stupid, when Clinton was running. A smarmy, wiseacre saying. And he's been a political consultant. So that's his bread and butter. Being a smart aleck, conniving political consultant. And living damn good. And keep in mind that they're going to, if they get back in power, not just what he's saying in this clip, but they're going to give amnesty to 30 million people, if not more, to change the entire culture, our laws, and it will basically be a death knell for our Constitution as we know it. So anyway, here's this pillar of society running his jaws.
I want to talk to Chief Justice Roberts, Justice Alito, Justice Barrett, Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Gorsuch. I might be forgetting one. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. A Democrat is going to be elected in 2028. You know that. I know that. It's going to be a Democratic House. It's going to be a Democratic Senate. The Democratic president is going to announce a special transition advisory committee on the reform of the Supreme Court, that we could have our third branch of government has lost the faith and trust of the American people, and his president are going to do everything along. He's going to appoint a blue ribbon, maybe Judge Ludick and the dean of the, just the usual fucking suspects, all right? And they're going to recommend that the number of Supreme Court justices go from 9 to 13. That's going to happen, people. That's going to happen to you. They're going to win. They're going to do some blue ribbon panel of distinguished jurists, and they are going to recommend 13, and a Democratic Senate and House is going to pass it, and the Democratic president is going to sign it, because they have to do an intervention so we can have a Supreme Court that the American people trust again. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And I would bet a lot of money that that's what's going to happen.
Where do you get your money? A lot, he said. A lot of money. Where do you get all that money from, Carville? It ain't from running a business or working a damn job other than running your big mouth. And let me tell you another thing. A blue ribbon commission of what? Marxists? Communists? He mentioned Judge Luttig as being some kind of luminary. I call him the old toad frog. Remember I put his picture up? Every time MSNBC or CNN has a retired judge says this about Trump, retired federal judge says that about Trump, it's that toad frog Luttig. Luttig. He's worthless as windshield wipers on a donkey's rear end. And he's anti-constitutional. So, yeah. They're going to try to get amnesty for 30 million people. They're going to pack the Supreme Court. Okay? They said, you know it, I know it. We're going to win in 2028. Like hell. We're going to get voter ID put through. And that party's going to be finished, especially if we straighten out this criminal news services that we have. The power to ignore. Power to ignore. Here's how they take advantage of the power to ignore. Another disgrace. This is Watermelon Head. Okay? I want to put Dunn next to his name. Dunn. You're done. He's not going to mention anything about Trump getting parity for us in buying medications. We have been financing communist and socialist national health care for other countries, foreign countries, for decades because we've been paying out the nose for medicines. And they've been paying peanuts. We've been subsidizing the so-called wonderful universal health care. Well, what happens when we end up with that yoke around our neck? So he doesn't mention how Trump has saved Medicare and Medicaid billions and billions and billions of dollars by demanding that we get treated the same as countries overseas as far as the cost of medicine. That's just one thing. But anyway, here's they swallow this garbage, hook, line, and sinker, a bunch of pissing and moaning and distortion of the truth, and you don't have any news agencies correcting it. You don't have any news agencies highlighting it. Nothing. Just sing this criminal song.
So I just voted no on the Republican funding bill. I'm outside the Capitol. It's dark and raining, and that seems all too appropriate for this moment because that funding bill has nothing in it to help people afford their health insurance. That bill has nothing in it that's going to bring costs down. That bill has nothing in it that's going to make sure that people with pre-existing conditions can afford their health insurance. When this debate began, I said, I'm not supporting a bill, a government funding bill that doesn't have money for health care in it. This one doesn't. So I'm a strong no on this bill. It will now, later this week, I suppose, go to the House. I don't know what happens to it there. But we owe our constituents better than this. We owe a resolution that makes it possible for them to afford their health care. The system's already badly broken enough. This just prevented it from getting worse. Frankly, we need a system where people can join Medicare and get good Medicare for all.
Who broke the damn system? You're sitting there saying it's a horrible healthcare system. It's terrible. Well, who the hell pushed through Obamacare? You did. But does the media point out something that's obvious? But how many of our people that go to vote are eligible to vote were just kids when this stuff went through? We remember it. And we think people are going to have the same experiences in their mind as we do. No. We've got people that were running around in dirty diapers when they were pulling this crap with Obamacare. So now that they're old enough to vote, the only thing they hear is the mockingbird media and people like this. You created it, Adam. Look what you've done.
All plan, but we certainly shouldn't be making it any worse. This is a Republican healthcare crisis. They have made it worse with that big ugly bill that took just billions and billions of dollars out of healthcare to give tax cuts for wealthy people and corporations. And sadly, this bill tonight does nothing to address it.
Just a flat out lie. And if we had a real news services, they would point it out that this is nothing but a damn lie. And Trump is the one that's pointed out, we're stopping these big insurance companies from getting billions for nothing. Look what you've done. Here's what you got done, Democrats. The only thing you accomplished is showing us that there are 40 million people on SNAP, and Obamacare is a failure. Great job. Not only that, but we're finding out that the people on SNAP, almost 60%, are illegal. And that across the board, all immigrants, not just illegal immigrants, but all immigrants, the majority of them are on some kind of social program. We're paying for millions of people around the world to come in this country and suck off us like ticks on a dog's back. Like Trump said, they're coming for the gravy. And they're in the bag to vote for Democrats. They're in the bag to vote for communism. Look at New York. Look at New York. So that's what you've accomplished. You woke up a lot of people. So we could get rid of mail-in voting and require voter ID, and these people are finished. I saw a comment about the woman that absconded. Mac, yeah. Clackamas County Commissioner lost to the lady that fled the country with her kid. I talked about that last night. She stole $30,000 from her boyfriend or their parent. I don't know but she's a federal fugitive of justice. Hi, Patrick. How you doing? Nobody's listening? Well, I can't talk any louder. I'll strain my voice. Mother-in-law. Took it from his mother-in-law. Yeah, this is why I wanted to pull up that video about Putin. Somebody, this is a Telegraph who Trump just praised yesterday. Trump just praised the Telegraph for, what, they busted the BBC or, anyway. Telegraph comes out and says, once the symbol of Russia's mendacious brand of diplomacy, the veteran diplomat is mysteriously missing in action. Talking about Lavrov. Where is Sergei Lavrov? Rumors swirl over the fate of Putin's foreign affairs enforcer. You know, I would have to go back a good ways in my intel drops that I get from Ruski land. But Lavrov had been putting out, and he has really been a frank, straightforward person. I kind of like his personality. But he has disappeared for weeks. As far as making statements or being in the public eye, I'm not saying he's vanished altogether. But one of the last things he did was he posted a map of where he thought Ukraine should have its border and how much land Russia should get. And it was not a joke, but it looked like a joke. It was like a little sliver of land and 90% of Ukraine under Russian control. And I haven't heard much of him past that. He must be a hard liner. And that's why I wanted to pull up that video of Putin and Trump that's been, I can't play, it won't play. So it's been disabled somehow. Probably because of my equipment. I don't know. I don't want to get into conspiracy. But, yeah, where's Sergei Lavrov? So that tells me, if things hold up the way they are, that Putin is taming his hardliners. Okay, the ones that want to take, it wasn't really 90%, but a good 70% of Ukraine, all the way up to Odessa, all the waterfront of Ukraine gone, except maybe a little sliver, and that's no way that's going to happen. So maybe there's a some internal discipline going on with the hardliners. Because we know Trump and Putin and everybody in the axis against evil has already got stuff laid out. The playbook is known, and we know what moves it takes to get to checkmate. Hi, Patrick. On a fast train to Siberia. He might be on a slow train to Siberia. But anyway, let me see what this is. What's this? Oh, remember that foul-mouthed, is this, y'all look at it, tell, they didn't put their name, and I didn't have time to click on it. Leftist radio host literally licks the boots of Jasmine Crockett. Is that foul-mouthed woman I put up the other day that was giving her commentary about Trump, and just every other word was F this and, nasty mouth? I believe that is that woman. Getting down and licking Jasmine Crockett's boots. That's what we got for media. Look what Jasmine's done to her hair. Is that instead of a mohawk, is that a frohawk? I don't know what that is. Looks like a pile of spaghetti or something on top of her head, kind of like a mohawk. Here she is. Here she is talking to that attorney that was crying. They praise him, but he's a lawfare. What's his name? Mark Elias. They say, oh, he's a good attorney, he's wonderful, and all this stuff. Well, he's a lawfare, in my mind, insurrectionist, conniving ways to pettifog and twist the law. And did he have his fingers in all this crap they put the Trump family through? But anyway, here's talking to Jasmine Crockett. She gonna run for senator. Now, maybe if she spray painted that pile on top of her head yellow, like Joy Reid. Joy Reid's got that yellow patch of hair on top of her head. I don't know. Just a suggestion. I'm no beautician. I don't know.
So I got to ask you, because your name has been floated all over Washington, D.C., and I'm sure all over Texas as a potential U.S. Senate candidate. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I am considering it, is what I can tell you. I think that we're living in unprecedented times, and I think an unprecedented candidacy is what we need to do in Texas if we're going to do something different. And so I think when you're talking about how expensive these races are, starting with someone who is known and has a brand that doesn't take shit from anybody, I think for the people is what people are looking for. I think one of the reasons you saw what happened in New York is because he said he was going to fight for the people that are forgotten, not the rich people, but the people that are barely making it by in one of the most expensive cities in this country. He said he was going to fight for them. And even though there were naysayers who said he can't do this, he can't do that, guess what? There are people that are believing that he is going to try to do everything that.
Oh, I wonder how much dirt you got under your fingernails, Jasmine. Okay, how much dirt you got under your fingernails with stock trades or lobbyist money, or who the hell knows? I didn't notice that Rapunzel rope hanging off coming over her shoulder. I didn't even notice that. I mean, where do you buy that stuff at? You go to a ranch and cut a horse tail off? I don't know what they do. But something tells me that's not au naturel. Hi, Ann. How you doing? Nice to see you. I don't know. Like I say, I'm no expert on women's cosmetics. Let me see. Here's Donald Trump again. I'm not sure what he's talking about here. This is a very short clip. He's busy every day. Let me see.
Control towers. And
well, wait a minute. Let me cut my mic off because it won't play good unless I cut my mic off.
We didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Edge, they say is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Edge was the Secretary of Transportation.
Yeah, they're talking about these flight cancellations, and they're pushing that, scaring the population. You look at these liberal sites that people go to, and they just search their minds day in and day out for stuff to, excuse me, piss and moan about. So that's the latest thing they've got going is the air traffic controllers. But what did Trump put out? Let me see if this is it. Is this the one about the air traffic controllers? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I got that on first try. All air traffic controllers must go back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. For those air traffic controllers who were great patriots and didn't take any time off for the Democrat shutdown hoax, I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for distinguished service to our country. You know, I can see where people be frustrated and missing a paycheck. You know, it's a 30-day world. And, but hey, this was a historic thing. And what you're doing is definitely a matter of national security. So, and plus we've already been through with Reagan about air traffic controllers. But so that's already been settled. But anyway, for those that did nothing but complain and took time off, even though everyone knew they would be paid in full shortly into the future, I am not happy with you. You didn't step up to help the USA against the fake Democrat attack that was only meant to hurt our country. You will have a negative mark, at least in my mind, against your record. If you want to leave service in the near future, please do not hesitate to do so with no payment or severance of any kind. In other words, you better walk the chalk if you're going to stay. You will be quickly replaced by true patriots who will do a better job on the brand new state-of-the-art equipment, the best in the world that we are in the process of ordering. The last administration, air quotes, wasted billions of dollars trying to fix antiquated junk. They had no idea what they were doing. Again, to our great American patriots, God bless you. I won't be able to send your money fast enough. To all others, report to work immediately. God bless America, Donald J. Trump. So you better get off your tuchuses, and get back to work. So also, where's that report? Is this it? Let me see. Oh, this is an old one. This is an old one about Biden and something I pulled up out of the archives about the Biden bunch. But Pete Hegseth has offered, should they need it, air traffic controllers to assist. So, yeah. I don't know where it's at, but you have to take my word for it. Have to take my word for it. Let me see what this one is. There we go. Flight cancellations will likely grow if the government shutdown continues. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warns. It's only going to get worse, he said in an interview on CNN. I look to the weeks before Thanksgiving. You're going to see air travel reduced to a trickle. Well, why didn't you report where he said that Pete Hegseth is offering help through the military? Because you want everybody freaking out. That's why. That's your bread and butter. Here's Trump again. Let's see what he's... No, this is Rudy Giuliani, who got pardoned. Mayor Rudy Giuliani stands by his work following the 2020 presidential election when he responded to the legitimate concerns of everyday Americans. Mayor Giuliani never sought a pardon, never in capital letters, but is deeply grateful for President Trump's decision. This action further highlights the years of unjust attacks against the mayor and so many others, and reinforces what should now be clear to everyone. Mayor Giuliani deserves to have his bar license immediately reinstated without delay. And then tune in to his 7 p.m. show on LindaleTV.com and his 8 p.m. show on X at Rudy Giuliani from his staff. Sidney Powell, Mark Meadows. I got something from Diamond Silk about that. Were pardoned by President Trump. So the pieces are falling in place. Let me see. This is Diamond Silk. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. Justin, GOP senator, now holding out, threatening shutdown agreement. Who do you think it is, folks? Who do you think the senator is that's threatening the to screw up reopening the government? Who is it? Do you all know? Let's see if anybody gets in the chat before I put it up there. Ha ha ha. Hi, Yvonne. Miss Bender Sue, how are you doing? Ha ha. So, who is it? Sandman, how you doing? Not Rand. NVM. What does NVM mean? Well, let's see. Randy said Ron Paul. Senate leaders say just one man stands in the way of ending the 41-day government shutdown. Kentucky Republican Rand Paul. Let's talk about self-immolation. Why is he self-immolating? We know why Chuck Schumer's self-immolating, but why is Rand Paul putting his head in beehive after beehive? Here's the senators that jump ship, and a couple of them aren't even going to run again. They're out. They've stepped out. They're not going to run for re-election, and the rest of them don't go up for election till 2028. Tim Kaine is a creepy SOB. And we know about Dick Durbin. He's not running again. And I haven't heard of some of these. Catherine Cortez Masto, I don't know who she is. Jackie Rosen, I have no idea. Both of them from Nevada. John Fetterman, well, we'll give him a thumbs up. Angus King, we've heard from President Trump about Angus King. Okay? He's supposed to be independent, but he caucuses with, he's a liberal to the bone. So I know Durbin, Kane, Fetterman, King, and the other four, Janine, Shahaneen and Maggie Hassan. Where are they from? Where are they from? I can't hardly read that. New Jersey? Is that what that says? I don't know. But anyway, somebody twisted their arm. Maybe he just wants attention. Rand Paul wants attention. I don't know. He's lonely. Let's see. Here's something else from President Trump. Happy 250th birthday to our incredible United States Marine Corps. From its founding at a Tun Tavern in Philadelphia to the sands of Iwo Jima, Korea, Vietnam, and the Middle East, and every fight since then. The U.S. Marines have always led the way and crushed their enemies. Oh, the big words. Peace through strength. Peace through overwhelming strength. Semper Fidelis, we love you all. Hoorah! Yeah. I know what happened. What my dad was trained to do with communists. On Paris Island, he was trained what to do when you run into a commie. A lot of things, but one of them was stack them up. Yeah, stack them up like sandbags, and then they'd freeze, and it'd be like, wow, man, that's pretty good. As far as like grenades or anything like that, good protection. It was awful cold. But anyway, he was a combat veteran, United States Marine Corps. So anyway, let's see. Where's here's a meme for you. The Democrats. Senate Dems, Dem voters, MAGA. Even with a crooked media, the majority of the people realize this was just a damn game by the Democrats. Yeah, I saw that. The Prime Minister of Syria. I didn't get it. He put posts up about that. Trump did. And, I'm not. I know what happened. What happened? I know Bashar al-Assad was a horrible individual. I know this guy that's in there now. What they did to civilians when they took over is horrible. I mean, I saw videos I wish I'd never seen. But thousands of years of that kind of conflict, we are not going to be able to straighten it out from over here. They got to manage their own affairs. And we know that with Donald Trump, if there's continuing human rights abuses, he will put the Ajax to somebody until they straighten it out. Look at what he's doing with South Africa. Look what he's told Nigeria. So hopefully he's flipped. Hopefully he has flipped. I believe he has, because Trump would basically say, give him a picture of his house if he doesn't flip. I'll put it that way. Trump would say, where's that? I had that clip. I didn't get to play it yet. He wants people to play ball and do the right thing, right? To be good citizens of the world. Where's that clip? It says the most badass moment of Donald Trump. And if they don't play ball, what will he do? Oh, yeah, I want to show you that. I want to show you that too. That woman that said she wasn't a citizen, but she won political office. How does that happen, folks? How does it happen that somebody who is not even a citizen? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Most badass Trump moment of history. So I think he's flipped.
President Trump looked at the Taliban leader and said this: I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be a conditions-based withdrawal. And translator translated. And he said, if you harm a hair on a single American, I'm going to kill you. And the translator goes, and Trump goes, tell him!
Yes.
Tell him what I said. Tell him what I said. Reached in his pocket, pulled out a satellite photo of the leader of the Taliban's home, and handed it to him.
Shut up.
Got up and walked out the room.
I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that. So anyway, that's the strategy. But anyway, I got to interrupt my what I was talking about because I had Diamond and Silk or Citizen Free Press put this video up of this woman that won her House seat and admits, is this the lead in? Let me see. New, self-described, this is from Diamond Silk, illegal immigrant wins mayoral race in a blue city. Kaoli Her pulled off a major upset in St. Paul, Minnesota, toppling her old boss, Mayor Melvin Carter, to become the city's first female leader. Her, now a state representative. Here she is, admitting she's not a legal citizen.
Because his mother had died, my father paperwork put my grandmother down as his mother. And so I am illegal.
So you come into this country, get government jobs, working for the mayor, run for office, and the people that are working in part of this country legally, you get to tell them what to do, right? Your whole job was just to, be a damn bureaucrat? Who installed you? Hi, Stanton. How you doing? Nice to see you. Ice Ice Baby Getter. That's right. So her, Ilhan Omar, all the other trash we've talked about has got to get the hell out. You know, in Britain, this is what, this is the kind of crap we're looking at. EU says car repairs banned. They're going to try the same crap here. You can't change your own oil. You can't put on your own water pump. You can't switch out your battery. You can't do nothing to your vehicle without a permit or an inspection. Something like that. And what's the other thing they're doing? They're doing away with... Did I get a screenshot of that? They're doing away with regular dryers. Here it is. Banned. Goodbye tumble dryers. Banned in the UK. You got to use what they have heat pump water clothes dryers that take 3 times longer to dry your clothes. And if it's really cold outside, they won't be able to work without an electric backup because of the climate change crap. But what's the reason I'm showing this to you for? The reason, here's a video a guy put up from the UK because they are horrible. They'll put you in jail for stuff like this. Let me find that video that guy put up. Oh my goodness, where'd it go? The guy that put this video up will be lucky if he doesn't go to jail. Or get charged with something, have to pay some kind of fine. So let me go ahead and play it. Yeah, you won't be able to work on your cars. You have to use some kind of goofball appliance that some know-nothing bureaucrat demands you use because they fell for the climate change hoax. And you got to listen to people denigrate your country, act like they're the real reason your country's great, and if you say anything otherwise, you can end up in jail. And they could probably become your mayor, just like we just saw.
This country, Great Britain, was rebuilt by people who look just like me.
Wrong. Britain was built and rebuilt by, surprise, surprise, the British.
Because it's not like us Muslims, Pakistanis, Bengalis, Indians are mentioned anywhere in your history books. You wouldn't dare to teach your children that the train tracks, that the NHS, that the universities was built by bearded men and covered, modest, beautiful women.
We wouldn't dare teach them that because it isn't true. Built in the early 19th century and the first of its kind in the world, Britain's railways were a great triumph of British minds and muscle. Brilliant designers dreamed up engines, tracks and daring bridges, while skilled craftsmen forged iron rails and built locomotives. And armies of navvies, tough labourers armed with picks and shovels, carved through hills, laid lines and built the tunnels and viaducts. And in case you were wondering, the men in question looked like this. Not Pakistanis and Bengalis, sorry to tell you. And as for British women, whilst they didn't build it, they became the backbone of the railways during 2 world wars, whilst the men were off at the front. And it was their skill and determination that kept the trains rolling, transporting troops and essential supplies. And yes, they were beautiful and modest, but probably not in the way he was thinking of. And as for the bizarre claim that it wasn't British people who built British universities, England and Scotland's oldest institutions are centuries old. Places like Cambridge, Oxford and St Andrews were built before a single Indian ever set foot in Britain.
Yeah, that can get you in trouble. That can get you in trouble. We shall see. I got a video of Elon Musk and the British government. Maybe I'll play that at another time. But yeah, I see what people are putting up about the Second Amendment. Well, look here what Zohran Mamdani says. New socialist mayor. New socialist mayor says he wants to ban all guns and defund police. Huh? Did real good there in New York. You know, I got this other video too I want to show y'all. This one here. Remember I played a video of her last night? This is Claudia Sheinbaum Steenberg. She's Irish, you know, from Mexico. She said she would not go after drug cartels. Remember that? I played it last night. It's just not what we do. It's against the law. We have laws. We're not going to. Well, she got accosted last week. And she said, I decided to press charges because this is something I experienced as a woman, that we as women experience in our country. Well, she doesn't have a choice. You know, she's got to press charges. You can't have somebody come up and put their hands on the president. You just can't have it. But I think this was a message from the cartels. This was, you know what I'm saying, look what we could do if we want to. Imagine if we wanted to hurt you. But here he just kind of does a little molestation business. You know, all they got to do is give some drunk a couple of bucks and message sent. You know, message sent. And like Trump said, she's terrified of them, terrified. And sure enough, within a couple of days, she puts out that I'm not going to do anything about the cartels militarily. We can't do that. It's against the law. Here's something else Donald Trump put up. Let's see what he said. The payback numbers being quoted by the radical left lunatics who would love to see us lose on the tariffs because of how bad it would be for our country are much higher than those being stated by our fake opposition, including the news. Opposition mainly from foreign countries that would do anything to be allowed to charge us tariffs without retribution. The actual number we would have to pay back in tariff revenues and investments would be in excess of $2 trillion, and that in itself would be a national security, there's the word, catastrophe. That's what I put in my thumbnail. Those opposed to us in the United States Supreme Court are giving low numbers, so the court will think it is easy to get out of this terrible situation that these anarchists and thugs have put us into. So another message to the Supreme Court, this is extremely serious. Here's a reporter. Trump put up her video. I forget her name. Her first name is Liz. Oh, what's her last name? Anyway, he said she's a good up-and-coming reporter, so I'm going to go ahead and play it. Let's see. Maybe it'll have her name on here. Who's she with? Fox News. But anyway, let's listen to what she has to say.
Well, a federal grand jury has subpoenaed former CIA Director John Brennan, along with former FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, among others, as part of the Justice Department's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. Sources telling Fox News Digital the subpoenas were served Friday. Meanwhile, meeting notes from John Brennan and James Comey from 2016 reveal former Secretary of State and presidential candidate Hillary Clinton approved the effort to vilify President Trump by stirring up the Russia collusion scandal. Devin Nunes joined you yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, Maria.
For 10 years, we've had a conspiracy to do what? What's the law that they broke? What they broke is that they lied and misled Congress. Specifically, they concealed this information. They concealed the fact that they knew that this was a cover-up by the Clinton campaign. As I said in the last segment, instead of exposing the cover-up, they weaponized the Justice Department to go after their political opponents. All of this information was not only hid from the American public, it was hid from Congress over and over again. We know now that Brennan did it. We know now that Comey did it. We know now that likely Clapper did it. Now, what we don't know is
unbelievable. Well, that weaponization of the DOJ, the CIA, something, Maria, that you've been reporting on for several years. Now, subpoenas have been issued. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, look, our audience, and me included, we want to see some accountability here. Liz, in my view, this was the #1 biggest political scandal anyone has ever seen. You had one political campaign, the Hillary Clinton campaign, just trying to take down her political enemy by coming up with lies about President Trump and then candidate President Trump. Because of her contacts in government, she was able to push this through government, putting it through the CIA, putting it through the FBI, so much so that they attached the Steele dossier to an absolute, real intelligence assessment. And, you know, we have the notes from John Brennan when he was in the Oval Office with President Obama. And he writes in his own little scribble, he writes, we have an alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on the July 26, 2016, of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump and tie him by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security services and tie him to the Russians. He wrote it all out, Liz. We knew it from day one. I sniffed this out very early on, and I'm looking to see because, you know, what happens here, because it ripped the country apart.
Yeah, and that's really the point, isn't it, Maria? Kudos to you for keeping this story alive. And I think what the American public needs to know, this hurt.
Undermine President Trump for
I like to keep seeing the word they had up there on the first part of this report. Conspiracy. I hope they keep putting it up, because that's where you get everybody.
4 years. It occasioned a great witch hunt, as he says, into accusations that proved to be totally bogus and basically were made up by political opponents. It doesn't get much worse than that. When you say it's the biggest political scandal of our lifetime, it was followed very quickly by pretending that Joe Biden was okay, and he wasn't okay.
That was the second biggest political scandal of our lifetime. That was the second, and I'm wondering if January 6th is going to be the third. So we've got our eyes on that one as well, because lots coming out of that. But just think about this, Mike. 2 weeks before President Trump is about to start his first term in 2017, all this is all over the place, going viral. Smears, lies of collusion and cheating going across the world. Just 2 weeks before he's about to take the helm in the Oval Office.
Maria, not only did they weaponize the power of the United States government, okay, to frame a sitting president as an agent of a hostile foreign nation, okay, we now have the Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, millions of people have died because of this nonsense, right? So even if you're not a Trump fan, even if you think Trump had something to do with Russia, okay, you can agree that had they not done this, there likely would have been a diplomatic channel to stop that war.
Oh, yeah.
So
there was such a dereliction of duty, and the dereliction of duty goes even beyond that, because look where we are with China. As they were saying, Russia, 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 China was eating our lunch. Now we're dependent on 90% of the underlying components of pharmaceutical drugs made in China and India. We're dependent on Taiwan for advanced semiconductor chips. All this should have been addressed in this 10 years of conspiracy against President Trump.
Yeah, that Russia, Russia, Russia hoax and all the other hoaxes and conspiracies to destroy Trump's presidency has cost us trillions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of lives. This is extremely serious. And I've got a video of Mike Davis. Where are you, Mike? He uses terms like network. I would rather, of course, he used the term conspiracy. Here we go. Here he is. Here he is. But he is gently saying that criminal charges are being looked at. If you listen to him, and when he says network of people, he's talking about conspirators. So let me go ahead and let him. He's talking to Steve Bannon.
You don't get to say walk away when there's misconduct. So we now have regular misconduct. American citizens, when you see that, you say, let's go figure out what happened. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm very confident it's happening faster than people can realize. And look, I've told you before, I get a lot of grief from the TV people. If you do something wrong and we can prosecute you, we're going to. That's part of the process. That's always part of the process. So we're really excited about the truth getting out. And more importantly, I've heard from people this morning that have said thank you to President Trump for being on their side, right?
Oh,
for not forgetting what's gone on.
One thing you say, name and shame. What about the next step? You will prosecute where you can
everywhere,
prosecute
everywhere.
What about the state? Just one more time, because you're dealing with some of the most radical attorney generals in the country, particularly Arizona, places like that come to mind. What is your plan for these folks?
Well, there's a couple of things. One of the things when you start to look at the facts of this is that you realize that there were a series of nonprofits set up. Norm Eisen was in this space. Georgetown University had some people that are up in Wisconsin that are working right. So you say, who was in collaboration with this targeting? Again, maybe it's not illegal, but it's certainly worth a hard look. And when it comes to the attorneys general, you see a network now. Look, the reports out of the last 2 weeks on Arctic frost are that Jack Smith was coordinating on targeting people with local prosecutors. That's frankly the place where you look first. You say, hey, you may be out of control. You may have run for office, like I think Letitia James did, saying, I'm going to target that citizen, that group. That's what she ran on. That's politics. Maybe it's illegal, maybe it's not. When you get in office, how you use your office is what we're going to have to look at and say, whoa, back off. By the way, one of the heroes in this, Harmy Dillon. Harmy Dillon is fearless. And so we were trying to get to the bottom of this, and she's saying, how do I help? And she's out there in the fray too. So it's an all government effort to make sure that our people are protected and people are held.
All hands
on deck. Yeah.
What about, let's go to the anti-weaponization.
I realize most of this you can't talk about.
He's talking about this network of prosecutors, but I guarantee you they're looking at judges too. And remember, FISA works both ways. A lot of this Jack Smith crap was gotten because of FISA warrants. And Judge Boasberg gets tangled up in it, and a lot of other creeps, they tie him in. Judge Kaplan, Judge Merchan, and Judge Engoron, and all those losers. I'd love to see them all get swept up for what they've done to this country.
But people sometimes think that that's not getting the attention. You just had this book, Injustice, out where they're trying to make the case that Jack Smith is a superhero. And the only reason that he didn't actually bring get Trump in prison is that Merrick Garland guys are just too late to the process. But you've got this now grand jury in South Florida. You have all this Arctic frost, which is, finally the Senate realizes they were wiretapped. Now they're interested in where do we stand with your anti-weaponization move?
Yeah, let me say one part of that, Steve, is that all along the way there's progress that's hard sometimes to show people. It's an inch at a time. For example, the news that broke on Arctic frost, we had that about 5 weeks ago, and I know that the effort was by the DAG, Todd Blanche, was how do we get this information in the hands of people that can hold them accountable. We did that, right? There's Tina Peters. We've been fighting for 2 months to figure out a path on Tina Peters. It's come out publicly. We're fighting for Tina Peters. You say, well, just go get her. Well, we got to work with Colorado.
You've put Colorado Bureau of Prisons on notice that you want to transfer it to a federal prison.
Yeah, and we did it, but we did it. I got to say again, Todd Blanche is the guy leading on this. We did it in a way that puts the right kind of pressure on them. You know how this works. Right. If you're Colorado, I was chief of staff to the governor of Missouri once. Right. If the feds say we want something, you change your tune in terms of. So we did that. We're doing that. So there's a million steps, but I would say on the big picture, J6. Look, you're seeing the J6 stuff breaking. I can't talk about a lot of it, but you're seeing that stuff breaking. That's because it's a regular. It's like a drip where we're making regular progress. Now, don't get me wrong, Steve. We need more prosecutions. We need more convictions. I get it, but I do know that we're making progress. And on the weaponization, look. Joe Biden's administration, it was beyond what you could even imagine. What you can imagine. Right. Honestly, you know it.
Well,
and it was beyond.
Illegitimate. That's what proved in the 2020 election. It was stolen. It's illegitimate, and it acted like an illegitimate group of gangsters.
But they targeted so many Americans. You get the Catholics in Richmond area. That was nationwide. The school, the moms and dads at the school board, right? They targeted every different category, and they did it with a level of. It was like Obama was doing that. His people. These guys went beyond anything you could ever imagine. And it's, by the way, it's all the same suspects. It goes through both administrations. You know, the characters are the same in terms of the.
Well, the Norm Eisen, some of these NGOs, Weissman, this crowd, the MSNBC crowd. I know you got to bolt two things. Number one, your brother. Tell me about your brother. He's a Marine. Tell me about your brother.
My brother's a United States Marine, Lieutenant Colonel, retired Marine, Jim Martin.
Career,
yeah. He did tours in Afghanistan and Fallujah and all that stuff in Iraq. And, took guys, always a dirt eater, ground pounder. He was Scranton University.
That's where it cuts out, fight. He's talking about his brother being in the Marine Corps. Hoorah! But, you can't shame these people, Mike. I heard him saying that. We got to name them, shame them. You can't shame these people. They have no shame. But there's so many different crimes that he's talking about as far as January 6th, the stolen election, lying about Biden's competency, There's so much going on. He's got his Humphrey Bogart trench coat on. Jack Webb. Notice the purple tie. You know why he's wearing that? Because we're the counterinsurgency. That's what we've been told. We are counterinsurgency, and we are going to displace the color revolution. And don't forget this. He mentioned January 6th. He said there's a lot coming out. I can't talk about it. Remember this woman? Listen very carefully to what she says. How does this play into conspiracy? Is somebody going to be knocking on her door and asking her questions? Is she going to be singing like a canary? I think so.
Forward looking. We were planning when I was working for Pelosi. I don't know that this has ever been made public, or I've never said this publicly, but planning for a January 6th type of an event 2 years before it happened.
Waiting for a January 6th event 2 years before it happened. My. And don't forget this gentleman right here, a high-ranking military officer discussing how he was pressured to go along with taking out Trump, basically. He wrote a book. This is all stuff that I hope is shown on jumbotrons, in public squares, and on everybody's televisions around the world. That's what I'm hoping for. Remember when we were talking about an 8-hour broadcast? 4 different 8-hour broadcasts on a loop for days to tell not only the American people, but the world what these creatures have been doing to us.
So you were actually one of the people that assessed this intelligence community assessment from the side of DOD, as I understand it, that recently we've been hearing about, that Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, publicized recently.
Yeah, on I think it's page 74, 75 of my first book, The Nation Will Follow. 2 days after the election in 2016, I was called up on the NSA phone. The person said I had to be on the intelligence community assessment that was assembling to finalize the Russia narrative, because we were going to prove that Trump was a Russian asset and we were going to delay or block the inauguration of Donald J. Trump for the first term. I just couldn't believe it.
This is what you were told?
This is what I was told on the phone.
So this is...
Delay or block Trump's first inauguration. Conspiring to prevent him from taking office. Right here, a high-ranking military person that got a call on an NSA secure satellite phone. To the highest levels of government this is going to go.
This was a deep state coup from the beginning, that it actually started in early 2016. We went through the process in November. The final product came out in the first few days of January 2017. But bottom line, the supposed top secret review, there was nothing there to show that Russia was trying to manipulate the campaign or the outcome of the election in the favor of Donald J. Trump, that the Trump campaign was somehow colluding with Russia. There was no evidence of anything. So when the document, the Intel Community Assessment, came back to the Department of Defense, because that's what happens in these reviews, the team members, the document, the final end product goes back to all the departments and agencies for review and finalization and approval. When it came back, my recommendation was non-concur. There was no evidence to support any of these assertions. And I was told, John, stand down. No, you don't need to complete the staffing. The secretary, which is Ash Carter, who's dead now, had already signed off because Comey and Brennan were personally hands on keyboard writing this assessment.
You never have a director.
Ash Carter signed off on it. He's dead now. Isn't that something?
Director of CIA or director of FBI personally writing the Intel Community Assessment that was very brief.
It sounds, even with everything we know today, it sounds kind of nuts.
It was absolutely nuts. It was absolutely nuts, and it was some of the most outrageous things I'd ever said or heard in government service, uniformed or civilian. This was insanity. The voice on the other end, I know exactly who it was, and I put their name to the Durham investigation. John, we're going to finalize the Russian narrative, prove Donald J. Trump is a Russian asset, and delay or block the inauguration. It's never been done before in American history. This is insane. But it shows what was going on. And we were starting in early 2016. We were being fed information in interagency meetings from New York, from the director of counterintelligence, who was Charles McGonigal, who's now in prison, who was being paid by the Russians to spread the rumor inside the U.S. government that Trump was a Russian asset.
I just want to touch on that for 1 sec, since we're talking about it. It was Russian money that was funding the rumor that the candidate Trump was a Russian asset.
That is as insane as it sounds. Yes, the Russians were paying the FBI director of counterintelligence to spread the rumor it was the Russians that were interested in Trump, were trying to influence the election, and that there was a form of collusion going on between the Trump campaign and Russia. Shows the bizarre nature of the Soviet era psyche still permeating through the Russians.
Have you seen any of that? Any of that on mainstream media? Verified. Verified. And that was during Trump's first term. I'm going to show you this clip. What's he talking about for Trump's second term? This was before Trump got inaugurated for his second term. What's Jamie Raskin talking about? Remember, they wanted to prevent or delay his inauguration.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that.
So the Russia hoax was the first term to prevent his inauguration, and the J6 hoax was gonna be their excuse to stop his second inauguration, talking about the rampaging MAGA mob, and he's even attacking the legitimacy of the Supreme Court, all over an orchestrated hoax known as J, and then the other word is 6. I have to break it up because they give me a hard time. You know that. So anyway, those are the two major plots. The two major plots were the Russia hoax and then the exaggerated insurrection. And how many times have you seen this stuff, folks, right here? 24 million ineligible names still on voter rolls. Judicial Watch put that out today. put that out today. And then I've got other screenshots throughout the last couple of weeks that people have been putting up about Texas finding thousands of people who are ineligible on their voter rolls. How many videos have you seen like this? And people being arrested, prosecuted. Let me see what's going on in the comments. Okay, so anyway, let me see what else we have here. I got some videos here. Oh, here's the spew. Boy, I thought they were finished. But how the hell did they get back on? I got no idea. And who's watching them? I got no idea. But we get these clips. Sonny Houston or whatever, she wants to take pitchforks and torches to go visit Chuck Schumer.
Let's be clear. The Republicans run the House. The Republicans run the Senate. The Republicans run the White House. The Republicans run the Supreme Court, as far as I'm concerned. This was a choice by Republicans to cut SNAP benefits. This was a choice by Republicans to cut ACA subsidies.
Choice by the Republicans to gut the federal government.
Now, wait a minute. Obviously, the Republicans don't have total control, because we wouldn't have been shut down for 40 days. But you see, they got this coordinated narrative to attack the Supreme Court also. But no, yeah, they control the House and the Senate by such slim majorities that the Democrats can exercise their control. Now, how people allow their brains to get twisted. The Republicans are supposed to be at fault for the government being shut down, but she wants to kick Chuck Schumer out because he allowed it to open back up. What kind of damn sense does that make?
Government and federal employment. Democrats had nothing to do with it. I want an opposition party. I think the Democrats caved. I think the Democrats let down the American people. And like you, Whoopi, I have absolutely no faith that the Republican Party will come to the negotiating table in good faith. You know, you do something like this, shame on you the first time. You do it twice, 3 times, 4 times, shame on me. Shame on the Democrats for even believing that the Republicans will, even vote on it. There's no guarantee in this New Deal that there's going to be a vote. There's no even commitment to have a vote. So the bottom line is the Democrats went into this after a blue wave out of the American people saying we do want the opposition. We the working people want the Democratic Party to fight for them. And now they just caved and surrendered. I think Chuck Schumer, his days are over. If he cannot keep his caucus together, he needs to go. He needs to be replaced.
I completely disagree with you, Sonny, for this reason, what you rattled off.
Republicans run the executive
I don't know what she's going to say. Chuck Schumer's got to go. They're the ones that held up SNAP and the so-called Affordable Care Act. We don't want to pay for illegals. How else can you get it through your damn head? But that's okay because we're not paying for it, all right? And Trump came out with the $2,000. I don't know if I got a copy of that or not, but I'm sure you all heard it. He wants to give a stimulus check from the tariffs, $2,000 to low and middle income Americans. But let me see what this is. What's this? Greg Price says, breaking, the Supreme Court will take up the case of Watson versus Republican National Committee, which will decide if mail-in ballots received after Election Day can be counted. At least 18 states allow this, including Nevada, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. Can you believe that? Well, we got to wait for the mail to get here. It might take a day. It might take 2 days. Oh, look, a week later, we found a whole truck full. So the Supreme Court's got a lot of hot potatoes it's dealing with right now. Tariffs is the big one. Now we got this mail-in voting. We're going to have voter ID because they'll sue everything they get. They lose, they sue. Everything. Everything they lose, they sue. What's this clip? Let me see. And we keep getting the same crazy damn judges that are supposed to be randomly picked. Let me see what this clip is. I'm not sure about this.
First at 5:30, the Memphis Safe Task Force in town for 40 days. More than 1,000 warrants have been cleared. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Shay Arthur. This also comes as the task force told us yesterday 101 missing children have been located. WREG's Harrison Klopp is live tonight with a breakdown of all this information they've shared.
Narcotics, firearms, and sex offenses, among others. In their short time in Memphis, Shay, the task force has been responsible for 2,342 total arrests. We've also learned just how big the task force is, as they tell us the operation is made up of 31 different agencies. 31 on the local, state, and federal levels. The U.S. Marshal Service Operations Commander Chad Hunt spoke on the Memphis Safe Task Force, saying, quote, "We will continue to investigate each warrant we adopt and arrest the assailants to make Memphis and Shelby County a safer place to live." And Shay, as you mentioned at the top of the show there, the task force has found over 100 missing children in their short time in Memphis. We have reached out to them about more information on that statistic. Hopefully we'll have those answers by 10 tonight.
So we got a bit of good news.
31 different agencies, a lot of information to come there. Harrison, thank you.
Good news, 1,000 criminal warrants cleared that they've had on the books, and they found over 100 children who are missing. Over 100. Yeah, get them all, Miss Mindersu said. By the way, if you enjoy my work, I have got a link to buy me a coffee in the description, and I want to thank Wayne and Mike and Bev for helping out this week. I really appreciate it. Links in the description and on my Rumble description. And if you get a chance over there on Rumble, if you're listening, and if you haven't hit the follow button, hit the follow button for me and give me a thumbs up here on Utizzle and Rumble. Helps the video get around. So I really appreciate it, folks. Let's see. I have got, as usual, a lot of different stuff, but I've got one video here in particular about food stamps. I'm going to save that one for the last video. I have got some of these. Oh, here's, they're making fun of Tim Kaine here on Babylon Bee. Democrats agree to end shutdown in exchange for 15% off coupon to Cracker Barrel. In other words, they're making fun out of how little bit they got out of this damn show. So I don't know what the end result's going to be. Trump, by all rights, should be able to fire automatically about 100,000 dead weight employees with the federal government. 100,000. But he might use that as a bargaining chip because you can always take care of them down the road. Down the road. We want to get what we want now. Citizen Free Press put this up. Pramila Jayapal. Now, she's in the House of Representatives and says being undocumented is not a crime. Ha ha. Well, X Community Note says since 1940, the alien registration requirement requires aliens to register with the federal government and must carry documentation of their registration at all times. Failure to register is a federal misdemeanor, not civil, punished by fines, imprisonment, or deportation. So there you go. What's her name? Pramila Jayapal. Should you even be sitting in whatever perch you're sitting in? We got so damn many of them that have no business there. Oh my God, what is this? Oh, majority of Gen Z voters voted for Mamdani as New York City mayor, but gladly they're talking about something other than Gen Z, but they are talking about Mamdani.
Well, I mean, I love the way Mamdani completely ignores what President Trump has already done. I mean, he's talking about, oh, it's a new day. We're going to attack affordability. Excuse me. That's exactly what President Trump has done since day one in office. Look at the price of oil. Look at the price of certain foods. He has, in fact, used affordability as one of his number one agenda points. And he's done actually effective job in bringing down the price of oil. And I know is working on other elements of affordability as well.
Yeah, but the regular media will not report it no matter what. Gas prices are down. Grocery prices are down. Trump just negotiated this big deal with Big Pharma to keep us from paying for communist governments around the world their universal health care. They were paying off our backs, and that's all been stopped. But anyway, what was this one? Let me see what this is. Yeah, this is Brandon Johnson appeals to the UN to end ICE raids. And then you got Tom Homan. I will play this one here if you haven't seen it. Tom Homan finishes up the clip. So this is Chicago, where we had people getting pot shots taken at them. We've got a judge that says they can't use tear gas and they can't be too rough with people. And you have reports that the Latin Kings have put a shoot on sight for federal agents. Okay, and that's what happened with the guy in the black Jeep. They say they caught that guy. We'll get some updates on that also. So I'll go ahead and play this clip for you. Brandon Johnson begging for the UN to get involved in American politics with illegal immigration. What the hell does the UN have to do about it? And hopefully they'll be able to wrap Brandon Johnson up with some type of conspiracy to incite insurrection or something like that. We shall see. But anyway, I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me. Ha, you got her, Miss Mendersu. Jayapal's next. That's right. We're going to keep track of all these creepos that got to go. Yeah, that's right, Gary. So much to know. We got... will our friends and neighbors be able to absorb all this stuff? We've been absorbing this stuff for years. But anyway, folks, I should be broadcasting Wednesday night. If you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. So anyway, folks, I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy this clip. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man Over and out.
Mayor Brandon Johnson is asking the United Nations to intervene to stop your operations. Here is what he said before the UN Human Rights Council. Listen to this.
The federal government's immigration enforcement has been marked by violence and an assault on the dignity of all Chicagoans. I call on this council to hold the federal government of the United States to the same standards of accountability you apply elsewhere. Country should be above international law. I urge the Human Rights Council to consider additional measures of accountability, including a special session to examine the worsening human rights crisis in the United States.
Tom, this is just pure lunacy, but what is your reaction to all of that?
He just proved he's not that smart, right? I mean, asking the United Nations to talk, interfere with ICE enforcing U.S. law, it's like asking an arsonist how to stop a fire. Because the UN, remember, the IOM, the part of the UN, helped fund the mass migration during the Biden administration 4 years, spending millions upon millions of dollars helping that migration, international migration, come to the United States. So, the United Nations is not going to tell President Trump what to do. President Trump was put in office on the promise of making this country safe again, on the promise of having the historic deportation operation. That's exactly what America is getting. Every criminal alien ICE and Border Patrol takes off the street makes this country safer. We have the most secure border in the history of the nation right now because of leadership of President Trump, the men and women of the Border Patrol, and because ICE. What ICE is doing in the interior every day, they've sent a message across the globe. Don't spend your life savings, cross the border illegally, think you're going to get away in the United States. Because of what ICE is doing, people aren't spending their life savings, putting themselves in harm's way. Thousands of people aren't dying making that journey. Thousands of Americans aren't dying from fentanyl because of that secure border. But the actions of the interior, the ICE and Border Patrol, has a lot to do why we have the most secure border in the history of this nation today.
And you're doing such a great job, Tom. Kevin Cork here.